Good evening. Actually, first let me introduce Executive Director of Safety, Stephanie O'Malley, who's standing to my right. So this evening at approximately 1 p.m., there was an incident involving possibly two motorcycle clubs that occurred at the National Western Complex. It was their 38th annual event there. As a result of the incident, there are 8 injuries. 4 individuals were shot, 1 fatally, 1 individual was stabbed, and 3 lesser injuries as a result of that incident. After consultation with the organizers and the administration, the decision was made that tomorrow's event is actually a 2-day event, today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's event will be canceled. It should also be noted that there is additional events that will occur at the complex that will continue. There's one tonight at 7 o'clock, and I believe there's one tomorrow at 7, and one at 12 noon. I think it's the Arena Crossroad, which is not associated with the event that occurred today. Both of those events will occur tomorrow. Any questions?
The 3 lesser injuries, what were they injured with?
That is undetermined. More than likely, it was a fight, fist. No weapons, to our knowledge.
Can you name the motorcycle organizations that were involved in this?
Yeah, actually, that's part of the ongoing investigation, and I would feel more comfortable for us to kind of verify some of those facts before we release that information. At some point, we will do that, but that's part of our ongoing investigation.
What went into the decision to cancel tomorrow, but this happened at 1 and this event went on into the evening? Why not cancel today?
Well, it occurred around 1 o'clock, and time the police got there and time we kind of figured out what was going on. And as part of our investigation, it was probably close to 4 to 4:30, and actually the event closed at 5 o'clock. That part of the event closed at 5 o'clock anyway, so it was an hour left, and then we've had most of the individuals that attended the event had pretty much evacuated it anyway. And given that fact, and given the fact that we had a lot of police officers there, so to go through the exercise of closing it for 1 hour when it was about to close, and most of the participants had already left, and we had a heavy police presence. Decision was made to let them finish out the evening, but certainly close the event for tomorrow.
It's closed for tomorrow because you're doing further investigation.
It's closed for tomorrow for part of the investigation, but also out of the safety, out of the interest of safety for our citizens.
What started all this?
Open, where you have extra security out there.
Yeah, we will have a police presence there the remaining of this evening, and we will have a police presence there tomorrow. And what exactly triggered this from occurring, that is part of the investigation, part of the ongoing investigation. And again, as we continue to bring this to some closure and gather the facts, we'll be sure to give you an update.
So I know you're not naming at this time one of the motorcycle clubs that was involved in this, but we know from multiple sources, and it's probably not a secret here, that the law enforcement is a part of that motorcycle club. Were any of the Denver police officers off duty at that event, witnessed anything, or hurt?
Well, first let me say this. We have not verified absolutely that law enforcement was part of one of those clubs. And as it relates to Denver police officers, there were no Denver police officers involved in the incident, off duty.
Why were there so many Denver police officers heavily armed at the Denver Health Medical Center after the victims were brought there?
Probably for security reasons.
Do you fear that, is that obviously one of the fears, that somebody might sneak in and sort of finish off?
Well, no, I mean, the reality of it is we have several witnesses that we're interviewing. We have one person of interest that's also currently in the process of being interviewed. Okay. And there were actually 8 individuals at the hospital. So obviously we want to make sure that the incident didn't spread from the complex to the hospital, and that would really contribute to why we had so many Denver police officers there.
If I heard you correctly, you said no weapons were involved in this. It was a fist fight?
No. The 3 lesser injuries more than likely were a fist fight. But to reiterate, there were 4 individuals shot. One of those individuals was shot fatally. There was another individual that was stabbed, and there were 3 lesser injuries. Did not necessarily involve a weapon.
We've seen these kinds of incidents in the past with other motorcycle clubs, how do you guys approach this, knowing that there's that other factor? And I think that's what we're all wondering too, with the presence of the hospital. Just concerned about the added level of violence and potential ongoing issues between these clubs.
Well, obviously, we're not anticipating that, but I will tell you that we're absolutely prepared in case it does occur. And that's why there will be police officers working throughout the night at the complex, even after it closes. And we certainly will have a substantial number of officers working tomorrow, even though a decision was decided to cancel the Moto Expo.
Chief, can you please clarify, earlier reports, you guys said that it was 7 taken to the hospital, just now you said 8.
Yeah.
So 8?
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Or 9, I thought I heard you say 9.
No, I think at some point it was 9, but actually the number that was taken to the hospital is 8. Yes.
Was there surveillance of this incident today? Cameras that captured this fight, the shootings, anything?
That I don't know. Again, that's part of the investigation. Obviously, if there was, we will be sure to capture that. That will be evidence that we'll use as we move forward.
Has anybody been arrested?
No, there have been no arrests. Like I said, we're interviewing several witnesses, and we do have one person of interest that we will be interviewing also.
Is it fair, or are you prepared tonight to say that arrests are imminent tomorrow, Monday?
No, I'm prepared to say that it is certainly an ongoing investigation, and again, we are interviewing several witnesses, potential witnesses that we're hoping that will help us bring this matter to some closure, and we do have a person of interest that we're in the process of interviewing also.
Was there only one shooter?
No, I believe there was an exchange of gunfire. Again, that's not absolute, that's part of the investigation, but more than likely there was an exchange.
Is there any evidence that there was any kind of off-duty law enforcement officer involved, not from Denver, but at all involved with this?
That's part of the investigation. Absolutely not from Denver. As it relates to were there other individuals that might have been involved from other agencies, that is part of the investigation.
And I know this is early on, but, and you have lots of people that you're looking at, you know, 8 in the hospital and deceased and people interviewing, but do you have any idea if most of them are local or most of them are from out of town? Do you have any idea of the geography of where these folks come from?
No. Most of them are members of a motorcycle club. Whether they are local or out of town, that we do not know at this time.
Chief, you just mentioned a club. We all are kind of hearing that there's 2. We have names. We, of course, are going to respectfully wait before we publish anything. But a quick question. Other high-profile motorcycle-type incidents, informants and undercover folks often know that there will be a gathering of some sort, like we saw in Texas. Did your team have an idea that they should be on higher alert there, or did you know, or did this kind of catch everybody by surprise?
Well, I mean, first, this is an event that has taken place, I think, for over 30 years, and we hadn't had any serious incidents that occurred. But we did have officers working off duty there, and obviously they monitor the various groups. And I mean, this occurred so rapidly that they just weren't in a position to prevent it from occurring.
Sir, can you clarify, maybe you already said it, the person who you're interviewing is a person of interest. Does that happen to be the shooter, or is the shooter one of the injured, one of the 8 taken down?
That is, again, I'm just not comfortable giving that information out right now because that is part of the ongoing investigation.
Can you tell us if the shooter was injured in any way in this situation?
There were 4 individuals that were shot. Whether any of them were part of the shooting, that's yet to be determined. Let me say this. This is very early on in the investigation, so I would ask that you certainly understand that. And obviously, as it unfolds, we'll be sure to give you and the community an update. But we're very early on, but at the same time, we really wanted to get out the message that this event will be canceled tomorrow. The other events that are scheduled to occur at the complex will continue on tomorrow, and there will be a police presence tonight, and there certainly will be a police presence tomorrow also at the complex.
Are you guys concerned that the folks who came out here from out of town or wherever, they were planning to do this for 2 days, and now it's been taken away from them, that they would be acting up tomorrow?
Well, obviously we'll have a presence too. We'll be monitoring that, and if that's the case, I think we'll be prepared to address it.
Was there any security screening today, or has there ever been at the venue?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Is there a motorcycle club / gang problem in Denver where there constantly there's a sort of tension going on, tension brewing?
Well, we have, to use your term, we have motorcycle clubs / gangs that are in Denver, but they're part of a national. They're part of a national association. So yes, some of them actually do live in Denver, do meet in Denver.
Do they meet at that place? Is that
No,
just sort
no,
of
that is an annual event that actually draws motorcycle clubs from across the country.
And are you guys calling this a motorcycle gang shooting?
No, for right now, we're calling it a shooting, and whether it was motorcycle gang related, motorcycle club related, that is yet to be determined.
Oh, can you weigh in on this, because it's your experience? What is the difference with the between the club and a gang?
A club is pretty much nonviolent. A gang sometimes has activities that are questionable.
And sir, one more time about the numbers. 8 taken to Denver Health plus 1 dead, so 9
No,
total?
no, 8 includes the 1 fatality.
Whose call was it to keep things running today? Was that the police department, the event organizer?
Again, just be mindful. Time, we got there and put all the pieces together. There was pretty much only an hour left before the event would even close. And given the fact that most of the people that were there had already left prior to it even closing, and given the fact that we had a strong police presence as a result of what had occurred, the effort to close it for 1 hour, it just didn't seem to make a lot of sense.
But that's not necessarily the case. We were walking around in there, and it doesn't close down until 7 o'clock. I get that downstairs, there's still, you could walk around there and see blood and crime scene stuff, and it was quite an odd juxtaposition. People were walking around, they were seeing it. It doesn't close down, the building doesn't close down until 7.
Yeah, but yeah, and I was there. I just left there, so I'm familiar with who's there and who's not there. And the reality of it is, most of the individuals after the incident occurred. Now that place had over 10,000 people. After the incident occurred, a great majority of the people left. And given that, like I said, once the decision was made, and I guess the organizers going to notify the vendors that there will not be tomorrow. I mean, there will not be a tomorrow. They're going to start closing down. And given the fact that if you were in fact there, which you were, you should have saw an endless number of police officers there. So, given the hour that was left, given the people that were there, and given the presence that we had, a decision was made that we'll, in time. And if we had closed it, by the way, that would have taken another hour anyway.
And when you're saying increased security at the expo, would it open, or you cancel the incident, the event tomorrow?
We canceled the Motor Expo tomorrow, but the other events will go on.
But you're increasing security, and when you're saying that,
Correct.
are you checking out people to 11s, or people are gonna go to metal detectors? What is increasing security?
You know, increasing security is a higher police presence that will be outside and inside of the complex.
And with this event happening, like today, are you planning on next year screening?
Well, and that's a great question. I'll let the executive director speak to that.
We're going to have to really assess how this event, if at all, will be held again in our city. And that's part of the consideration that we talked about today in terms of safety. And in the event that it is, I am confident that there will probably be some adjustments made from the National Western Complex itself and the promoter who's responsible for promoting the event. And certainly our city is willing and able to work alongside those individuals to come up with a plan to assure that security is heightened.
Can you clarify for us, the 2 clubs that shall remain nameless at this time, can we call them rival clubs? How would you describe it so we use accurate language tonight when reporting?
Well, I wouldn't call them anything right now because, again, that's part of the investigation. We need to kind of still kind of figure out what triggered this event, exactly who and how many people were involved in the event, who and how many club members were involved in the event, what's the association, whatever number of clubs there are, what's the associations do they have with each other. I am not in a position to say that there were rival groups or there was a conflict between groups that are not rival, a conflict between just individuals that happen to be members of different clubs. That's all part of the investigation. That's all part of something that we absolutely will determine. And I feel very confident that we'll be able to bring to a successful closure. A successful closure, obviously, is making the arrest where it's appropriate.
Do you know at this time how many firearms were discharged? I'm just trying to find out if you sort of know it's one shooter or whether indeed.
No. We strongly suspect it's more than one shooter. How many firearms were recovered or how many firearms were used during the offense, that's still part of the ongoing.
Do you
Okay?
have the updates on this, one last question, sir, the updates on the conditions of the ones at the hospital?
Yeah. The latest update we received, again, as I mentioned, one has deceased. 3 additional individuals are in critical condition, and then there are the other injuries that are less serious or less critical. Okay?